Hello guys, my name is Chris Osaze Hato and you're welcome to the Real Talks. Quickly, we're not going to beat around the bush. In today's Real Talks, let us talk about silver spoon, inheritance, and red flags. Quickly, let us look at um, you know, inheritance in African setting, you know, the concept of silver spoon and red flags to watch out for as you get older and you have a family that you are likely to leave inheritance for. Okay, now in Africa, there is uh, various types of properties owned by different people. It could be property owned by individual, property owned by family, or property owned by government or groups of people as the case may be. But you see, it is not really the property that is the problem, but it is the greed that plays out after the owners of the properties leave this side of the world to the other side that everyone will definitely end up in. I have discovered something in Africa, you know, that when property owners die, um, there are individuals or people that come after the will. They come after the assets. Nobody go after the liability. The aim or the goal of these predators is to collect all the silver spoons from the children of the deceased. I repeat, their aim or their goal is to collect all the silver spoons that the owners have left for his or her children. What inspired this video is the drama that is playing out in Nigeria within the Wigwe family. Herbert Wigwe, the former, group managing director of Access Bank or Access Holding. Now, it's on news that the father of the late, you know, financial guru or banker, you know, who is 90-year-old, decided after 1 year of the death of his son to take the matter to court. Now, if there was no will left behind by the deceased, in this case, Wigwe, there will not be a problem. But the fact that a will was left behind and his own father and his cousin decides to take the matter to the court is crazy. But there would have been red flags, and I believe it is because of those red flags that the the man who has died decided to leave a will behind. And in his will, he said that the properties should be distributed solely among his children. Now, imagine if the wife had been alive, the wife had not died with the man and the firstborn. It means that the family would have made life terrible and difficult for the wife. But in this case, it's amazing to see a 90-year-old man taking issues that could have been done privately within the family circle into the general public, taking it as far as the courts calls for us to, think about what happens to our properties or our private properties after we leave this world. So, like I said before, the aim or the goal of these people that contest will, or even when there are no wills written, is to collect all the silver spoon that the parents have left behind for their children. So what are these red flags? The first red flag comes from the family. When family members begins to behave in certain way and manner when the owner of this property is alive, it's a red flag. When you see people asking or having this entitlement mentality while you're still alive, you can imagine what happens to you when you're no longer here. Another red flag to look out for is if you have a business and you own it with other people, when partners or associates begin to act in way and manners that suggests that when you leave, your shares or your interest in the business may be contested by your partners. It's actually a red flag. Another red flag is friends. Friends who have entitlement mentality, people who can just walk into your life, work days, weekends, asking for things, asking for you to pull out resources from your business to give to them, all right, for just no work done is another flag. And then, of course, government. When government begin to put taxes in place and make requests from citizens, from individuals that are alive, imagine what happens to an estate when the owner is no longer alive. Government can come up with laws to, you know, pick up or collect these things by force, by fire from their families. And of course, the last one is the enemies. We all have enemies, okay? The government is not your enemy. Your friends are not your enemy. Your partners are not your enemy. Your family, you're not your enemy. But those people who don't like you when you're alive, all right, imagine what they can do when you are no longer alive. It's crazy, just thinking about it. So, what is a silver spoon? A silver spoon is actually um, things we take for granted, you know, in our background. Take for instance, if you are privileged to be in a home where you are allowed to face your studies and not do domestic works, all right? So the help that is given to you, by the house helps, and you being not allowed to walk and be strong, it can be a silver spoon, or you going to school in a private vehicle while others have to struggle and go to the bus stop to find their way to school. It's a privilege. Now, it actually can also be a silver spoon. And then, of course, you getting all that you want, all the good things that you want. Take, for instance, having books, having access to the laptop, having access to the computer, having access to the internet, having access to the private library at home. These are silver spoons. All right. So basically, a silver spoon is not just a literal spoon. Okay, so it could be privileges and benefits that you have that others the same age or in the same community with you do not have. Those privileges, those benefits that you have, you know, to have a comfortable life, those are silver spoons. And now, these are some of the things that people may come after when your parents are no longer alive. Those things that create wealth, that money that is there, those cars that are there, those houses that are there, not everybody have access to a private room, all right, when growing up. There are some individuals that have private room. There are some other individuals that have to sleep five in a room. So imagine now if one parent is no longer in this world, one is not even allowed access to properties that belongs to their father. These things can be referred to as silver spoons. So it is your responsibility now that you are still alive to give to your children those things that cannot be taken away from them. Topmost of importance to me is a good education. I encourage you to give good quality independent education to your children, all right? Education that will make them strong, education that will make them very courageous. If they can have strength and courage built into their DNA, I guarantee you, even if all the silver spoons that you've left behind is taken away from them, they have a silver spoon in their DNA, inside their mind, inside their psyche that cannot be taken away from them. So give to your children a strong mindset, a mindset that is, strong and very courageous. I guarantee you, nobody can take that away from them. Even if all your properties and all the money in your account, all your shares and stocks are taken away from your children after you leave this world, the education you give to them can never be taken away from them. The contacts you expose them to can never be taken away from them. So don't be like that rich man that builds his treasure here on earth, where the thief can come in and steal. The thief in this situation could be your family members, could be your partners, could be your friends, could be the government, and could even be the enemy. They will come and steal those things from your children and make life difficult and miserable for your children. So it is true that it's possible for all the silver spoons you leave behind to be collected from your children. But don't forget, the silver spoon you put into their mind, into their spirit, and into their soul cannot be taken away from them. So invest in the education of your children today. My name is Ekato Christian Osaze. I hope you have learned something from this talk today. So to the Wigwe family, I would encourage you to honor the memory of the great man that have left so much wealth behind. Now you can imagine the father is asking for 20% of the estate to be allocated to him, in spite of what is written in the will, that all his properties should be distributed solely to his children among his children. A 90-year-old man is asking for 20%. He also asking for them to be appointed as administrators of the estate of Wigwe. When the man has a child, a daughter that is 26 years old, 26 years old, a 26-year-old can better manage the affairs of his father. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, may the soul of the late Herbert Wigwe rest in perfect peace. God bless you. Bye.